Christmas and New Year's are in the rearview mirror, perhaps along with many thoughts of improving our lives over this new year. So how are you at these resolutions, these self-improvement type efforts? Disappointment and frustration are common to us, or maybe we've just given up altogether. It might do us some good to simply realize this pattern in our own weakness in improving ourselves. Then to allow ourselves to be loved in this weakness, loved by God. I don't so much want to discourage you from self-improvement, but rather to give you permission to be patient with yourself and to be loved in the journey as to who you are. This approach will probably take us to where we want to go even faster. Now, my intention of bringing all of this up is to hit upon the most important commitment in our lives, that of prayer. We are created to pray. Our purpose is to be united with God, and prayer is the means and experience of that. So let's check in a bit on our commitment from this past fall. How are you doing with your prayer commitment? Or if you didn't make a commitment, it would be great for you to make one and let me know. My dream is that our entire parish would commit to one of these levels of prayer. So what are they? Well, the first level is to pray 10 minutes every day with the Lord. Just a combination of praying at night, before you go to bed, before meals, maybe reading a little scripture or spiritual reading. To just get 10 minutes in. God's worth that. We can do that. The second stage is to move beyond that and say, I desire to actually learn how to pray, to know how to listen to Him, how to speak to Him. And so for that level, I speak about taking the Prayer 101 class, a class that just leads us through this experience, right? And then the last step, right? The level that we want to achieve would be this 30 minutes of praying each and every day, and the substantial meditative contemplative prayer in which we talk to God, we listen to Him, and we're just with Him. Right now we have 72 people from our parish committed to praying 10 minutes a day. We have 69 who are committed to taking the Prayer 101 class, or have already taken it, and 30 who are committed to praying 30 minutes in a contemplative, meditative way every day, for a total of 141 people. Here's a graph of our journey of the total number of people who have committed over the past 5 years. I would love to see this become infectious and this number to shoot up. Imagine if we doubled this number. I think this would be a wonderful goal for our parish. Here are some questions for those of you who have committed. Are you living out this commitment? Why or why not? What are you gaining or missing by doing this or not doing this? Essentially, how is it affecting your life? What do you want? Do you want a deeper prayer life and connection with God? Here are a few thoughts to help you carry out your commitment. For those of you trying to pray 10 minutes a day, it is, I think, mostly a matter of the will. It just needs to become an important enough thing to do. Now, it's good to come up with a plan. A consistent habit is likely going to give you the greatest success. Involving others can be a great way to be held accountable as well, especially if you ask someone who has more of a desire for prayer than you have. Some people in our lives actually desire us to pray more than we desire it ourselves. It would be a good person to just ask and help you along. For those who committed to taking the Prayer 101 class, I recommend working on the desire for prayer. Maybe every night in your night prayers, tell Jesus 3 reasons you want a closer relationship with Him. Sometimes you may repeat the same 3 things, or other times you'll come up with new things. But it'll be a healthy reminder of why you want to learn more about prayer. It would be great if you would additionally ask Jesus each night, what are His 3 reasons for wanting a closer relationship with you? For those of you committed to 30 minutes of meditative contemplative prayer, I suggest the following. Think of this time as key relationship time, like spending time with a spouse. We know well enough the harm of missing these key moments to connect in our daily lives with those we love. When we recognize the commitment to prayer as basically a relational commitment, we are well on our way. As we think about this in a relational way, we can discover that God is really only so important to us. This may be hard to swallow, but it's really the truth. And that's okay. God is patient with us. Think of a young man madly in love with a girl who really doesn't care about him too much. It doesn't really bother him. He is patient and just keeps trying until she one day falls in love with him. This is God, right? He is just waiting for us to fall in love with him and start prioritizing that connecting time with him each and every day. God's blessings.